the Research Consortium has put together a collection of experts to explore the question of deer management in the Adirondacks, and particularly from the perspective of what is a greater impact on the northern forest, white-tailed deer populations as they increase, or climate change.
And as for how many deer we have in New York, the only data I have is depending upon DEC and the harvest information. I probably need to get a new slide on this, but this is the one that I have. What it's really showing is, with that harvest record, certainly you've had an increase in the deer population over time. In many ways, you look at white-tailed deer as an incredible conservation success story. We humans pretty much wiped deer out from the states through over-harvesting, unregulated hunting, unregulated market hunting that was taking place, particularly for sending the hides to Europe. So in one sense, it's what's happened with the deer population. It's an incredible, successful conservation story. But that old adage of you could have too much of a good thing, and that's the case we have now with our deer population across New York.
Well, we try to bring issues that are important to different communities so that people don't have to travel necessarily to see this stuff. They can be exposed to scientists and researchers and practitioners who are actually working in the field on a whole assortment of issues.
We've been watching regeneration at Newcomb. Some of the early stuff started in the 50s, and I can only say that since the deer density was controlled and the beach was controlled, we've had no trouble regenerating sugar maple or white ash, black cherry, yellow birch, and mixed conifers. So I don't think that there's an acidity problem on the upland sites. Forest soils have a capacity to buffer some of these changes, and I'm not sure we've reached a tipping point where that isn't happening, but we've not had any problems with regeneration in the central Adirondack. And over at Wanakina, where we did some trials over there in the 70s, we regenerated an array of species without any problem.
I go to Colgate University, and I'm a junior class of 2016.
So I'm Mark Lesser. I'm a postdoc at SUNY ESF.
I'm Paul Schutte. I'm a postdoc at SUNY ESF.
I'm Michelle Peach. I'm a PhD student at SUNY ESF, and I'm trying to evaluate the effectiveness of land protection for maintaining biodiversity.
A lot of work on the deer in Hamilton, New York, because Professor Cuddler's kind of trying to get one of the task force together. So we've been talking about deer, learning about deer, and trying to figure out how to manage the deer population.
Just starting to look at the moose population in the Adirondacks.
I'm working on deer impacts on forests across New York State.
We have people who are working on certain aspects of ecosystems or maybe a set of species, and then we have other researchers working on forest ecosystems looking at silviculture. And to get those people together in the same place and helps communicate across those silos really, and often generate new ideas, and to frankly network.
getting people together in a physical place to talk about their research.
Hi, my name is Isabel James. I'm a student at Colgate University.
Warren Rosenthal. I'm with the Lake George Wayne Conservancy.
Well, I'm Carl. I'm a student at Colgate University in Professor Carmen's ecology class.
I'm Len Cronin, Regional Manager with Finch Forest Management.
Michael, I'm a student from Colgate and I'm in Professor Carmen's ecology class. And we're using DARE as a kind of model organism to look at ecological systems in general. And so one thing that I learned today that was really interesting to me was how the DARE affects, I like this idea of a natural invasive species, that the DARE, which are natural here, and the beach, which are natural here, how the interactions of the species can really become, I don't know, so invasive and so pervasive in their ecosystems that they are detrimental to the other organisms.
But something I've learned today is really, I think the public health tick talk was amazing. I thought she was wonderful, she was concise, she was clear. I think it's really important to have that connection between the sort of hard science and the community and implementing that. And so I had no idea ticks was such a problem, to be honest with you, until actually Emily and I were doing our lab, and she's like, don't go in there are ticks. And I was like, what ticks? I didn't even know they were up here. So that's something I learned.
We got a much better understanding of the issues of deer populations on management of lands and obviously on diseases. And also learned a lot about the issues of beech trees, in this case, beech density and its impact on the forest lands. So my objective really is to more actively manage our lands. So I'm always looking for more information to help me make better management decisions.
The really interesting thing I learned today was a lot of the interactions that deer have, the indirect effects they have on the larger ecosystem, especially how deer, because they've been repressing the growth of native species, have affected the expansion of invasive beech trees and other sorts of invasive species.
I would say it is controlling the deer population with the shooting of the does and using that as a management tool with the deer management permits, and also with bow hunting and muzzle loading season to keep the populations in check, and also the effects of that on the regeneration of beech and beech bark disease.